I put my trust in you, and I trust in our love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love. I put my trust in you, and I trust in our love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love.
Hello, friends. My name is Dane Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain. And we're your fuck buddies.
We are a dating and sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Simply put, we are a sex and dating advice podcast. We find questions either roaming the barren wilds of the internet or from our wonderful, I was about to say barren listeners, but nope, just our twisted listeners, I guess, yourselves. And we answer them right here, right now, in your ears every Monday, sometimes on Patreon.
I noticed this recently, and this is a combination of like something I'm dealing with like professionally at work, but also in sort of like recording this show, is that I've grown kind of bitter about things that are like status quo, just kind of like the everyday. For example, at work, I'm a bartender, and just like I was starting to get that feeling I got pre-pandemic of being like everyone pissed me off, and I was like, well, this is my job and these people pay my bills. And typically, for the most part, even if someone's annoying, I'm still making decent money off them.
And then, so of course, the next person to walk in is just the most unbearable motherfucker you've ever seen.
So I'm trying to like deal with that. But then I also realized that...
Are you telling me we're going to have a happy episode? Because I don't know if I'm in happy head frame.
Not a happy episode. What I would like to do is bring some positivity, a little bit of positivity. And that happened for me today, where I'm wearing my Protect Trans Kids tank top because it's boiling hot outside and in here. And when I was walking around, I was stopped by an obscene amount of people in terms of the typical interactions that people walking the streets of Toronto want to have with one another, especially strangers. I had a woman who like pulled over on her bike and like flagged me down and was just like, thank you for wearing that. I had like people just like high five me. I had a group of like young like teenagers be like, fuck yeah. And I was just like, oh yeah, for me, and this isn't me patting myself on the back for wearing a shirt. It was just a really nice moment to feel like everything wasn't terrible.
Yeah, we need those reminders. And I'll say I've had similar interactions wearing mine as well. I'm like, it's funny because the first time I wore it out, like I was just wearing it like rock climbing or something. And on the way there, a lot of people were like looking at me really weird. And I was like, what the fuck? And I kind of just forgot what it said. And then when I realized, I was like, oh, are these people shitty? And then someone kind of like shuffled up to me and was like, hey, that's a cool tank top, man. And like laughed. And I was like, oh, I think they were just clocking it and like didn't know. Yeah, we're being awkward, less so. Maybe some of them were shit, but they shut their mouths and a few people didn't and said nice things. So I'll take it as a win.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where like a rare feeling of community in especially a place like Toronto, which like it really does lack there are community spaces. Like there are places where I feel like part of a community in Toronto, but the city as a whole feels very, headphones in, eyes down, go and not really interact with your neighbors. And so and it was just a nice like feeling of being like, oh, okay, like I care about this and the people in my community also care about it, and that makes me feel better. Because I think you're right. I think that initial sort of knee-jerk reaction is that like when someone's looking at it, you're like, you're gonna be a piece of shit. And it was just nice that like I'm sure there were pieces of shit who saw it driving by or walking by or whatever. Now
those people can't read.
But it was just like there was a really nice moment of just being like, cool. I'm glad that like you feel like maybe your kid feels like the woman who stopped me was an older woman. I was like, maybe you have a trans kid at home and you feel a little bit better or feel a little bit safer knowing that, someone out there has your kid's back on the TTC or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it was nice. And I'm going to try to bring something like that, and you're welcome to participate as well, of course. Every episode of like,
no positivity from me. I'm miserable.
Yeah, I know.
No, the other day I was in Bellwoods and a whole bunch of semi-drunk strangers all banded together to save a small dog from a coyote. So that was great, because the coyotes in this city, if you don't know, are going crazy lately and just do not give a fuck. It was like just when the sun was kind of setting.
Okay. I was going to say,
it was still.
I'm not like, that's very scary if coyotes are now roaming a very busy public park during the day.
Hey, let me tell you, it was not dark.
Yeah.
It was crazy because it just kind of seemed like another dog for a minute. Like, it wasn't the biggest coyote I've seen, but it was very, like, if you kind of pay, like, you almost like double take because it was like very still and weird.
Yeah.
But it was like just scanning the place, and there was this tiny, tiny little like toy poodle. And like once it got a little bit away from its owner, the coyote just ran at it, and we kind of were like paying attention to it. So like a bunch of people ran and got in the way. Another person ran and picked up the dog, and like it was crazy. So everyone worked together. The coyote ran away, and then we all cheersed, and it was great.
Yeah, nice. And other news of well, maybe you haven't seen Superman yet, I assume.
I have not.
Maybe
I
we'll
hear
talk
it's
about
woke.
It's the
I love
funny
like
thing
my.
about. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say my favorite thing that I know about it is the article that came out, and the like headline was, "No, Superman isn't woke. We just now have cartoon villains in real life."
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, okay, checks out.
That's the thing is like the people who are getting like, there are people being like, we're boycotting Superman because it's anti-genocide. It's like, is that
yeah?
Is that the reason you want to? Is that
you're
really
pro-genocide?
Yeah, is that really the way you want to say it? Is that,
well, even
is
like someone made a very good point where it's like, if you ever liked Superman, his whole thing was like fighting fascists, right? So if you liked him and now don't, Superman didn't change. You just became a fascist.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's like multiple arcs of Superman beating the shit out of the KKK. You know what I mean? Like that is there are famous panels of him trashing people. There's like a whole arc in, I don't know, like the 60s or whatever, about segregation. There's a whole like everything about Superman is woke.
Like his whole thing is like, the only like or like redeeming quality of a character being that strong is that he's so good. You know what I mean? It's like, if he wasn't so good, he would be the worst fucking character ever, because like, oh, he could do everything. Like, his whole thing is like, yeah, he could be all powerful, he could do whatever he wants, and he chooses to do good. Like, that's pretty much the only good. Like, this thing is, if like, it wasn't that, Superman would suck.
Superman could solve a lot of problems if like at the beginning of the movie he was like, oh, Lex Luthor's a bad guy, fly up and just smush his head. Like, he could do that. Like, that's the whole reason of Super. But like, I don't know,
which he does do in this movie. It's 7 seconds long.
He does smush everyone that pisses him off. Lois Lane gone first couple minutes. He just smushes her head real quick.
And it's like, can't kill her if she's already dead. And you're like, damn, Superman, you're great. Yeah. He also turns to the camera and be like, why did they never write me like this before? Every time he does it. And 7 seconds, he just kills all the problems in the world. And he's done.
He's done.
Yeah.
I hope what we see is sort of like I'm hoping that men and boys take to this version of Superman the way that culturally the Barbie movie spoke to women and young girls, in the sense of like, oh, empathy and kindness and hope and you know, helping each other out and like making hard moral choices that are good for other people and not just myself. Hopefully that, like, I hope this becomes a sort of cornerstone culturally for men's growth in terms of understanding empathy and like realizing, being like, oh, it's not a beta cuck move to give a shit about people and to care about people. There's a pretty cringy line about being kind in it, and I won't ruin it because
please don't.
It is
but if
sweet.
I watch it, we can get into it, because I do love cringy lines. Let's do a little sex news. There is a health campaign in Ireland being launched. Every year, about 60 men in Ireland get cancer of the penis. Washing under your foreskin, if you have one, every day can help reduce this risk. Because apparently, well, not apparently, I know it to be a fact, but like the health care and sexual health and sexual education systems in Ireland are so bad that enough people do not understand this or have never been taught this.
Hey, let me tell you right now, there was literally never any talk about like foreskin cleaning in our sexual education either.
Yeah, for real. Like when I was a kid, like it was years and years. I don't know what age, but it was pretty old before I even realized it could be like pulled back. And it just like lived in a non-pulled back world for so long. And let me tell you, let's get a little real here. It wasn't great under there. I was very young. I was very scared. But again, too old. And I was like, what the fuck? And like it was a painful, embarrassing, scary, and let's be fair, gross and probably unhealthy process. But like, I didn't fucking know. You know, I just kind of figured it out. And thank God I did, because even in this, because it was a post made on Reddit where someone new to Ireland was like kind of making a joke being like, really, you guys don't know how to do this? And then not only were people in the comments kind of sharing a lot of stories similar to mine or horror ones about people who like maybe still haven't really realized that. Other people from other countries are coming in and being like, yeah, we also like, there's just not that much sexual health and sexual education out there, which is why, one, you should wash under your foreskin, guys. And two, this is why shows like this need to be around.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm circumcised, so like the idea of like I never really like when people started talking about it, I never understood like the emphasis of like additional cleaning, because I'm just like, am I doing it wrong? Like I was like, wait, what more can I do? Like it's all sudsy. I'm cleaning it. Like I'm using.
That's it. That's all they want is it sudsy? You're cool. Sudsy. You passed.
So it took me a while to figure out that like, oh, this curve like
mainly for
this conversation is the additional steps it takes if you do have foreskin, and like the extra, step you have to take to maintain a clean genital situation. But for a very brief time when I was younger, I did not know if I was doing it right, and I was too afraid to ask.
Yeah, I also was too afraid to ask. I like when it happened, I was just like, I don't know, did I just break my dick fully? Because I don't know, was it meant to go here? And I don't know what's all under this, and it's awful. And I was just like, fuck it, we'll see. Turns out it was the right thing to do. Dick is fine. Thanks for asking.
I don't agree with circumcision. I understand that there's religious aspects of it, but for the most part, I think circumcision is genital mutilation.
Well, it is.
So I don't agree with it. I am, however, glad that I am circumcised, because as someone who fidgets a lot, I don't know if it would be a problem, but I do feel like I would be constantly fooling around with my foreskin.
But there's a lot of things that you've missed out on. Like there was this guy famous from a high school near mine who could apparently fit his foreskin around like the knob on the end of his like bedpost. Another person apparently could fit a whole Nokia 3210i up there.
This is what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that my curiosity would get the better of me, and I would kind of see what's going on.
Dane Miller, foreskin fidgeter.
Yeah.
I can see it now.
I think I was circumcised for my safety.
That's fair. They look at you, they're like, he's got big fidget energy.
Look at those fingies. Look at those hands. They're just dying to get into some foreskin action.
Let's take one more. We're kind of going on tangents here, but I just want to take a moment to talk about something that happened to a friend of mine. So a friend of mine recently gave birth. And while the baby was, I believe the term is crowning, like the top of the head starts to push through. They had like a playlist that they had that was apparently a lot more chill than most people's pregnancy playlists, which I think is very funny because I'm like, are they just rocking Slayer? Like, what's happening? But they put on this like lo-fi kind of like beats thing, and the doctor came in, and the
lo-fi beats to chill and have birth to.
Yeah. So the doctor, as it's all happening and everyone's kind of like freaked out, the husband's there, the wife is there, it's all happening. And the doctor goes, okay, hold on. And they're like, what? And she reaches down and does something. And then she grabs a mirror and goes, look. And she'd grabbed the hair on the top of the baby's head and formed it into a mohawk.
Hell
said,
yeah.
He's got a mohawk. And then like left the room for 10 minutes and came back. Was like, we ready to go, guys? And they were like, apparently they laughed just so hard that there was nothing left right after that. There was no fear. It was just hilarious. And I would love to know, is that their move? Is that every single time? Or is that like a magical moment that just like, where they just have one of those days and they're like, I just said that. Maybe that's when they left. They were like,
yeah, they were like, I'm going to have my license revoked. I need to go call my lawyer right now to figure out if I just did a crime.
Because there are times when you're like serving people in like a restaurant and you make a joke and you misjudge that table. Or you make a joke and you're like, oh no. And then they're like, hell yeah.
I did that the other day. There was 2 older ladies sitting in front of me. And I was making a mojito. And in order to activate the mint, you give it a slap. You slap the mint to make it aromatic and activated.
And then you looked at her and you said, I'd make you aromatic and activated.
Well, it startled her and she went, oh. And I looked at her straight in the eyes and said, yeah, I'm a mint freak. And she did not appreciate that at all.
I don't remember what happened specifically, but there was someone I was taking a coffee order off him. It was like kind of an older guy, like maybe in his 40s or 50s. And then a bunch of people who looked like they were in their like late teens, early 20s. So I was like, did he bring these kids to like a concert? What's going on here? Whatever. So he ordered a coffee and I was like, oh, do you want milk or milk, cream or sugar? And he was like, yes. I was like, all of them? He was like, what? I was like, do you want like milk or cream? He was like, yes. I was like, both? He was like, what? Oh, I mean, milk. I was like, okay, milk and sugar. He's like, no, cream and sugar. I was like, oh, okay. And then the next guy was like, oh, I want a coffee with milk. I was like, are you sure you don't mean cream? And the guy was like, and got so angry and then was like, I'm going to pay your tip, buddy, so you better watch about this. And of course, I couldn't help myself, like every single person, because like I'm not good at the whole not upsetting people when they're being dicks thing. So I just kept the joke going and he was just like fuming. And I dropped the bill when he was in the bathroom and someone else paid and tipped me.
Nice.
Hey. We should get into the questions, though.
Yeah, probably.
This week, we're going to talk about boyfriend keeps calling my regions his purse. And now he wants to put things in it.
Oh, man, it's me with my foreskin. My imaginary foreskin. This is going to be a tough one for me, guys. And this is just the most basic part of our episode. What is one simple thing that the opposite sex gets wrong in dating?
Left with hickeys, so painful I cannot move.
That might be a question I might also have.
I like there were 2 mights in that sentence.
Yeah. And how to take good pictures for your online dating profile.
Hell yeah. All right.
Look, guys, I might go wild and off book and just completely change the questions that I'm asking, but
that's been the last 2 weeks and now this one.
Hey, I just teased my playing dead question this time. Maybe I'll pull that out.
You got to throw that on the Patreon. It's been too powerful for too long. This is by Ursula Under Fire. My 42-year-old female boyfriend, 34-year-old male, has some weird fetish referring to my vagina as my purse and asked me to put things in it. Can something like this be worked through? I know it sounds ridiculous and insane, but it's partially my fault. We're fairly casual. We've been seeing each other for several months now, going on a year, but don't live together and prefer it that way. We have no real plans to escalate our relationship to living together or marriage, etc. Neither of us wants kids. We are exclusive, but just happy with also enjoying our separate lives. Early into dating, he told me it's this thing where he likes to refer to vaginas as purses. Thought it was kind of odd, but I'm pretty open-minded and I've heard far more weird and disgusting things, so I didn't really care and said, sure, whatever, it didn't bother me. And he would jokingly say, I've got something for you. Could I put it in your purse before sex? And I laughed the first time he said it, but again, it wasn't that much of a deal breaker. Thing is, it's gotten perpetual, to the point where he says it literally daily, often many times a day, and certainly any time we're engaging in any kind of sex act. He also say it often when we're communicating through text. Jesus. It's gotten so much into my head that I now associate the word purse with pussy, even when other people use it. I was shopping with my mother this past weekend. She asked me if I had enough room in my purse for a water bottle, and I literally thought she was asking me about my pussy. That was the final straw for me. I haven't told him yet, but Mother,
dare
please.
You, Mom?
I haven't told him
a guy
it bothers
in high
me.
school who could do that with his foreskin.
But I have been reading on this sub for years now. Many people's fetishes are so ingrained into their sexuality, there's no way to make them stop. I know men can't have sex with women, for example, unless they're wearing long thigh-high stockings. I can tell he's very into it. When he says it, he almost instantly becomes aroused. I don't know what the mental connection is for him to this term. He's never told me. I don't think he knows himself, to be honest. I also feel partially to blame for saying it was fine until it wasn't. Is this something to be worked through? We have an otherwise very healthy relationship. We never fight, communicate well. share the same interests, and enjoy time spent together and apart, I would consider it a relationship I'd like to maintain, but I can't hear this day in, day out anymore. It's now turning me off. Thoughts? Has everyone dealt with this? I don't mean the purse thing specifically, but an otherwise fairly minor fetish that became annoying over time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a new one for me. I got to imagine this goes back to some mommy issues. Like, it's got to, right?
Yeah.
Like, like our boy Freud is rock hard right now.
He's spinning in his grave, and his hard dick is tearing the earth up on either side.
Yeah, if you hear a drilling sound, it is Freud making his way into the molten
just
core
yeeting
of
his
the
way
world.
through the crust. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You got to approach this like any kink or any other fetish, right? Like you as weird as it is, you participated in something for as long as you wanted to, and now you don't want to. And I think that it is a perfectly reasonable thing to say, hey, I was bald with this because it seemed to be important to you. It turned you on. However, it is now your fetish is now seeping into my day-to-day life in like basic language has been altered for me. And I don't want to be Pavlov that way. And second, I don't find it sexy anymore. It now detrimentally affects my sexual experience, and we need to do something about that. Now, it is up to him to decide whether that's a deal breaker, the same way it is up to you to decide if it's a deal breaker if he requires it, right? Like if he says like, sorry, this is a hard line for me. If I can't call your pussy a purse, I gotta bounce. You know, but it's the same thing with you, where it's like if you are like,
reached a hard line here,
if I can't get aroused
without,
if you don't stop calling it a purse, then
Yeah, and I think it's as simple as that. It's like you got to communicate. You're allowed rescind consent, so it doesn't matter that you have participated up until this point. If you no longer want to, totally fine. You be ready for the fact that if he doesn't want to participate in the relationship, he can also opt out. But like, hopefully, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe try like a different bag. Would that be a good compromise? Like a rarer bag.
Oh.
Right? Like, because, purse, you're going to hear that pretty often. I think that's where the main problem happened. But if it's like satchel, right? Yeah.
Duffel bag.
Rucksack.
A rucksack.
Yeah. How many fucking huff this in your rucksack? Like a bag of holding. You just can't hang out with any TTRPG people.
Yeah.
But if you're never going to play D&D, that one might be perfect for you.
That one's a real good one because you're probably not going to hear it anywhere else.
And you're going to hold it with your bag. Wink.
And I've heard it's infinite.
Ayo. Is that good?
No, I don't think so.
Probably not.
You got to lay it down. It's the exact same as any other fetish. If he has a problem with it, I think that is allowed, right? Like, this is his fetish. He can for sure be like, this isn't, well, unfortunately, like, that was important to me. I think you can maybe find workarounds of removing certain language. And instead of being like, I want to put something in your purse, maybe just change it to, I want to put something inside you, right? Like you can find
back to normal people.
Yeah. Find a middle ground.
No, you got to do the petty thing and then call his dick something so weird that when he brings it up, you go, aha.
Yeah. Be like, oh, I want your lipstick in my purse.
I hate that.
Yeah. Hey, if you want him to stop, you got to find something he's not going to like.
But I think it has to be something more common, right? Like your hot dog. And then if he's like,
I'm sorry, you think a hot dog is more commonly put into a purse than lipstick?
No, I mean like in his life, something that he's going to be asked about.
Oh, I see.
Ask him if he wants
you need
a hot
to ruin
dog
a word
far
for him.
More. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're just going to ruin another word for you if you make it lipstick.
Yeah, true.
You got to be like, oh,
like a bat.
Put your
bat. What's he into? You have to figure out put your Wiimote.
Classic.
Put your Nintendo Switch.
The top 3 things men are into: hot dogs, fucking
baseball bats.
I just figured it was like bats, like that, the animal,
like a flying bat. No,
yeah, and the Wii remote. That's it. And then you got to work down the list if he's a freak and he isn't into those top 3 things.
If he's a real fucking weirdo and isn't into bats, hot dogs, and bats, wieners, Wiimotes.
That's the thing. It's like, are you a butt guy? Are you a boobs guy? That's so 1990s. Now it's hey, you a bat guy? You a Wiimote boy? You're looking something up, and that's worrying me.
No, I'm writing down bats, wieners, and
Wiimotes.
and Wiimotes.
Yeah, but again, you can opt out at any point. Just have this conversation, and who knows? Maybe he'll be okay with it. And also, try rucksack. What's the best bag, do you think?
To be equated to a vagina, or just in general for carrying?
For your vagina.
I mean, it's got to be. I think it's purse, right? It's
something
small,
dainty,
it's delicate,
and cute, and like stylish.
It even like it opens at the top. You know what I mean? Like if you like maybe a clutch would be better.
Yeah, clutch.
Right? They have sort of like the opening.
Okay. Worst one, Ziploc.
Yeah, Ziplock's not great. I think duffel bag also implies
just a dirtiness.
There's a level of like illicit goods.
Roughness.
Yeah, sure. Right? Like
I think for rucksack, there's like it's been mistreated. It's scraped a bit. It's faded.
Rucksack sounds like it belongs to like a dude that goes and like makes those videos where he cooks like at the side of a river on rocks. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever seen those videos?
There's a certain charm to those, though.
It is, for sure. Whether I want that equated with my female genitalia or not.
That's fair. But Ziploc, though, there's an element. There's like the smell of old cold cuts, you know? There's a stickiness. It's been used and we should put it in the binness to it.
Yeah.
You don't want to reuse a Ziploc bag.
No. Although I'm currently sitting beside a massive amounts of Ziploc bags filled with D&D minis.
That's fair.
So, what did I say I was going to do? I don't remember what question I said I was going to do. This is more a discussion question because I'll tell you, friends, gang, team. I had a tough time finding questions that spark joy in me. Mary Kondo was not on my side today. I believe is her name.
Yes.
This is from Maybe Rasa, and I'm not going to read the question because it's pretty self-evident from the thing. It's what is one simple thing that the opposite sex often gets wrong in dating? And I want to just like talk about it. I just want to.
How many things you can fit up your foreskin?
You think that women? Do you think women think too many or too little?
It depends on the woman. It's a real glass half full situation here.
Okay. Would you be more upset that someone thought you could fit more things in or less things?
Less. Like they underestimated my capabilities. Although more if they want me to prove it. Because I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
Okay.
One that is like a non-funny real answer is periods. Like I know someone whose ex literally like one day turned to her and was like, women are so dumb. Why don't you just hold it? As if you could just hold your period like you needed to pee. And women, instead of figuring that out, were so lazy, I guess, that they were just like, I'm going to keep peeing throughout this week. Yeah. So that's a bold one. I do think a lot of men don't understand periods and also are scared of them. And I think if you are in a relationship and you can't talk about periods, you're not old enough to be in a relationship.
Yeah. There's no say opposite sex. So what we think women don't understand about dating men.
I know, but I'm saying what men don't, it's still the opposite sex to a man.
Yeah, I think the question is more like, men, what do women not understand?
Oh, okay,
right?
okay. Okay, well, fine. Let's do, I think, okay. Oftentimes, just like the parts of the penis and which ones are more sensitive than others. You know what I mean? Like I've had people just grab the head dry and just go for it. And you're like, what? Ow, what are you doing? Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas like if you were to just like mash a clit, there would be like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, how do you not know this? Like, don't feel like there's the same kind of standard held to women.
It's funny. I would be very curious to know, because you've been out of the dating game for 8-9 years now? Something like that? Like almost a decade. I would love to know, and this isn't me saying I want your relationship to...
Well, hey, if you want it, I guess we gotta...
Yeah, we can just run down.
I'm just going to run down. Yeah.
Because like I think the things I would have answered, when we were both single, I think is much different from my most recent.
Okay. So what are your most recent?
So my most recent, I think, is the scared aspect of like the what are you is the worst, but we've talked about that a lot.
I mean, the what are we?
Yeah, like the what are we?
What are you?
Vampire.
A killer, Bella.
I think what I found dating in my 30s and dating women like in their 30s as well is the wildly what's the word I'm looking for? Unwillingness to let things progress naturally. In terms of people wanted hard answers and distinct timelines and
like off the bat.
Right off the bat, or within like 2 or 3 dates. In some aspects, like there were times where I hadn't even slept with a woman yet, and they were talking about, becoming exclusive. And I was like, I don't even know if this works. First and foremost, like we haven't had sex yet. Like I'm definitely not becoming exclusive with someone I haven't slept with yet.
Also, you don't know them, right? It's really hard to answer things like that off the bat if you're like a remote guy, right?
Or for sure. And off the bat, come on.
That was the joke.
The things that I would have felt when I was younger, and this is something we've talked about a lot as well, is the idea of like when you tell a dude something, if they're a good dude, they're going to listen to you. Yeah. Right? Like the amount of...
You should know, or like, see, that's not... I don't know if that's necessarily a thing that they do or don't know about the opposite sex. I think it's just a thing they've been socialized to do that sucks.
Yeah.
But it's funny. So you're talking about these differences. Do you think it is our times moving on, or is it just the age bracket that you're now dating in versus,
I think it's a little column A, little column B, because I think as you get older, you're a little more sure of like what you want. And also there is like a biological, pressure for women if they are looking to have a family, where the odds of being able to have successful pregnancies and so on and so forth. I'm desperately trying to not use the term biological clock because it grosses me out so much.
Pretty bad.
But that is a reality for people. But I think there's also, a lot of women who are about our age grew up sort of in the worst timeline for casual dating, because it was like we were sort of the first wave of Tinders and dating apps that were hookup centric. Right. So like before then it was like the dating apps existed. There were plenty of fish. There was the OkCupids, there were the Matchy, Harmony and stuff, but those were very relationship focused. When Tinder came out, when we were single and in our 20s, it was very easy to hook up with people. And it was very easy to like use those apps in that way. And I think that really ruined a lot of people. I think a lot of dudes still have that mentality and are lying in order to meet expectations of people who have matured past that. And so I think there's a level of like jaded bitterness from online dating that has...
Sure. I also feel like there's always been, again, like society has tied being with someone, especially for women, so heavily to like their age. So it's like if you're in your 30s and you're not with someone. So I think they're also still getting the tail end of that, which I don't think Gen Z are going to be getting as much. Like I think that we're also kind of the last gasp of that, I think, which is why there's such this like trad wife kind of revival thing trying to happen. Whereas like we're kind of stepping away from that, but we're still tainted by it, right?
You also see a lot of pushback on more alternative relationship styles, right? Like the amount of like people who are like, are you poly? Like blah, blah, like, are you open? Like, I don't want a casual, like there was a lot of anger in regards to the open relationships, the poly, like when I was dating with my past partner towards the end of our relationship, we were open and poly. And like, that was a huge point of contention, despite the fact that it was like in my profile, it was very clear. It was I could see people being
angry if you like withheld that you were poly. Like they found out later on, which I think would be pretty shitty to do. But it's like, if you're just poly and they're not into it, like, what are you getting fucking angry about? It's like, cool. Okay.
And like you matching with me isn't going to change it. Like, I'm not going to be like, okay, I'm going to like get rid of my nested primary partner because I matched with you, a stranger on the internet.
Yeah, I don't understand that shit. But like, I think all of these are just like people being bad at dating, not necessarily the other, like, you know, women not knowing stuff about men. You know what I mean? I think that you can tense a little muscle, move your dick. People are always fascinated by that.
Yeah.
They love that shit. I think like maybe realizing that men are people, sometimes that can be a thing where it's like people think of men in this like almost like fiction terms where like you're this impenetrable, brooding, like whatever, whereas like you do have emotions and you are a person. And like some people are actually bad when that realization comes out.
Men are often treated as monoliths. And and sort of like, this is what men as a society, you know, societal standard of men is, and all men are that way. And if you try to challenge that or break the mold in any way, it's,
which is funny because a question like this almost presupposes that men are monoliths, right? So it's like, what's that thing they don't realize about all men?
Yeah.
And I will say there are very few that will expand towards all men. But I think another one we see is that men don't always want to have sex.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would have been one of my big ones when I was younger, of the idea that like men aren't just in the same way that like a lot of dudes need to hear that like women aren't sex machines in which you put in like kindness and time and money and you get sex out of the deal. Men aren't sex machines in the sense of like, you don't look at us and we want it, which I think is pretty tough for a lot of women to hear. And we've both had very negative experiences saying no to women.
Yeah.
And
or like, even if it's nothing to do with you, they could be tired or sick or ill, or not interested. Like, and it's not because again, if someone is with the belief that men always want it all the time, and then if you don't, that's a devastating blow to their self-esteem. And it's like, you just need to realize that's not factual. Yeah. It's not realistic.
Yeah. And that like our dicks aren't intrinsically linked to just libido in the sense of, I believe I've told this story before. So I was hooking up with someone and they asked me to stop like multiple times. Like we would start and they'd be like, whoa, I'm like, okay. And then we'd start and whoa. And then I was like, okay, well, by the third time, my body is like, no, this isn't sexy anymore.
The third time he did not rise again.
Yeah.
It's a Jesus joke.
Just, hell yeah. I love what my dick is compared to Jesus. Maybe that's what you can start calling his dick.
Ooh.
Little Jesus.
Little Jeso.
Little Jeso. But yeah, it's just like, at a certain point in time. Also, there was one point in time where someone was riding me and I had slipped out and we kind of like smashed bits. And I don't remember the exact word that she said, but it was real gross in the sense that she said something along the lines of like, you've turned my pussy into like mashed potatoes or something, like something viscerally gross.
Hey, let me tell you, that's fucking foul, man.
Yeah. Right. As
a man who says gross things all the time. Ugh.
Yeah. And like that really did just sort of take all the wind out of little Jesus' sails.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, you can't, because like, and then she got frustrated because I did lose it. And I was like, well, you can't say things like that and expect me to stay aroused.
Yeah, that's horrendous.
Yeah.
Ugh. And I guess another point, men are not monoliths, which we kind of partially brought up, but we're bringing it up again now. So yeah, it's questions like this are hard because there is a lot of monolith presupposing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I think those ones do a pretty good example of making things make sense. You ready for the next question?
I think so.
This is by Signal Elderberry 533. Left with hickeys that make it painful to walk or move. I, female 18, had a hookup with a girl, female 17, after knowing her for only a few days. She asked me out on a date, we fooled around and went further than I expected. I consented, but I don't think I really wanted it, as now it feels like my first time was wasted on someone I hardly know or like. Anyway, throughout the span of roughly 6 or 7 hours, I ended up with a ton of hickeys. there's these two clusters on my inner thighs that are extremely painful and swollen. They're sort of starting to get black and spread. Hurts to walk or move too much. I have to walk graduation tomorrow morning, and I'm scared I'll mess up due to the pain. Is that level of bruising and pain normal for hickeys? It really hurt in the moment, but I didn't expect so much swelling and stuff.
Yikes. So I had another question. I don't think I copied it because I didn't want to talk about it. But now I'm going to. And it was about a gentleman who his girlfriend just would not stop. And like,
with hickeys?
She just kind of
in general. With hickeys or in general?
With hickeys. So she just kind of like latched on to the old neck and just kept going. It was like, it got so painful and so like claustrophobic that he was like, I was inching towards territory of like, do I have to hit her to get her to stop? And it's weird that hickeys are like becoming a thing, or I've seen them mentioned a bit when I've been looking
Gen
for
Z have rediscovered them in a dusty tomb.
Yeah, like
where they belong,
where they should go. Hickeys and 69ing should just put them in a tomb.
Hickeys are good for one thing and one thing only: bragging rights when you're 14.
Yeah.
That's it. And then very quickly, you actually don't want that. And you're like, oh, okay, that sucks.
This sucks.
Because it becomes less of a bragging right, more of kind of like an embarrassment if you're over the age of, I'll give it till 15 and a half, right? You're 16, you got a hickey. Sorry, it's lame.
I feel like if you have a job, you shouldn't have a hickey.
And that's what I think. It's like going into your place of work and being like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like if you're giving someone a hickey in a visual place, you need their consent, right? None of this bullshit marking your territory, bollocks, or whatever the fuck it is. Like, what are you doing? Stop. And if you're not giving them one in a visible place, you should probably still ask. Also, maybe just stop because they suck.
Yeah, and also, like, there's a pretty immediate feedback, right? Like, I know they don't get as bad as they do until, like, after a couple hours or whatever, but, like, if you've left a welt on someone and you haven't asked permission to do so, that should, like, if I was doing something, also, like, I don't know who the fuck is getting pleasure out of having just their thighs sucked so hard that their blood vessels burst.
That's the thing. Nobody is. And what I want to say about hickeys is they are useless because sucking on someone's neck, licking their neck, biting their neck, whatever, all good things. Could be the start of a hickey. The only thing when it becomes a hickey is when you've done it for so long and so hard that it makes a mark. At which point, unless you're a very specific type of person, the pleasure is gone at that point. So you can do the good stuff without marking someone. So what the fuck are you doing?
The pleasurable, and again, as Nell said, like there are people who I'm sure are into the pain aspect of it.
Sure.
And that's fine.
But that's definitely a conversation you have to have. Yes,
for sure. Anytime you introduce any sort of pain play into things, that is a kink and a fetish that requires consent and requires a conversation about safe words and yada, yada. But yeah, it's like hickeys are the worst things in the world because I don't know. And maybe we're monolith in here on the opposite side, but I hickey very easily for whatever reason.
He a gentle boy, paper skin and
which is
viscous
weird
blood.
Because I don't really bruise easily. Like I have to give myself a pretty solid, but like a little, just the slightest bit of suction on my neck, and it's like. So I would always ask people, and like if I felt that going, you know what I mean, the suction beginning to be applied, I would be like, hey, do you mind? And I would say the amount of women who ignored that request was almost all of them. It really required, in the heat of the moment, I would have to ask either multiple times or be like, hey, remember when I said you left a mark? Can you not do that anymore?
Yeah, I would say the majority of people I've said that to have been like, oh, yeah, and then immediately go back to it. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
And again, I think there is an element of like marking or something. And I think that's shitty.
I think that is like one of the things where it's like, oh, well, now you can't hook up with someone else without having to explain why you have a hickey, which is a shitty thing to do to someone if the agreement is that you're seeing other people.
Yeah. And also, if you just told them not to do it, it doesn't matter if you're seeing other people or not. They fucking spat in the face of your consent. Yeah. No, it's fucked. So don't do it. Don't be a baby. As to, is this the normal amount of bruising and pain for a hickey? No, not at all. Not in any way, shape, or form. And more importantly, like, you need to learn to set boundaries because you said it hurt a lot at the time. Did you tell them to stop? It kind of feels like you didn't in this question. And like, I understand that it's scary. It's your first time. You probably assume they know more than you or whatever. But like, one of the most important lessons you can ever learn about engaging in any sexual act is the ability to say no and when to enforce your boundaries to keep yourself safe.
Yeah. And even if you could be in pain and enjoying it, but you need to have a conversation. You need to be able to communicate in the moment. Mm-hmm. And when you hit a threshold of being like, hey, that's too much, you need to be able to feel comfortable and confident saying that. And if you don't feel comfortable and confident saying that, you shouldn't be sleeping with that person. Yeah. And I understand that, like, there are situations where you make a bad choice and there's, I understand as a woman, there are times where you kind of have to hedge your bets after making a bad decision of like going home with someone maybe you shouldn't have, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, like, you should be hooking up with people and having sex with people who are willing to stop when you tell them to stop, and willing to listen to you when you need to communicate something in the heat of the moment. There is nothing unsexy about clarification and consent.
And if it is, that's not a person you want to have sex with.
Yeah.
They're going to be upset because you're making them stop because you're in pain. Fuck them. And by that I mean, do not.
Yeah.
The amount of women to speak up
still bit my nipples after telling them specifically not to bite my nipples. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, it's bad. I feel like we are running out of time for that last question.
I have a rogues gallery of women who have bit nipples when I said don't bite nipples. I have faces. Evil people. I'm like Batman with people who bite my nipples.
Have they been slowly being sent to Arkham?
They all have wild gimmicks.
That's fair.
The banana suit girl.
One of them distracts you with the poison flower and then
Yeah. And then someone's doing a cool like penguin umbrella dance.
Yeah.
And then
it's fair.
Latched right on. The worst is the clay guy.
Guy. Love that.
Yeah, we're probably out of time. We did a lot of rambling this episode.
We did ramble, but you know what? Hopefully you enjoyed it. And if not, tell us and we'll ramble less.
It's too bad. It's our show. We've done 353 of these. We're allowed to ramble in a few.
No, I love you too much to make you listen to our rambling. If you don't like it, tell me and we'll try to put it later in the episode.
We'll try. For once in 353 episodes, we will try. That's our promise.
Try not to ramble, Dane. Thank you, Josh Eagle and the Harvest Suits, for the song Paper Stars. As previously stated, we have a Patreon. If you would like to support us, please do so. The money helps us to continue to do the show without going crazy. And if we get enough of it, we'll quit our jobs and we'll do this even better.
And then we can promise we won't ramble.
Then we'll try.
And we're going to do a Patreon episode, this month's Patreon episode. I will include the question about playing dead. That's fucking
bummer,
weird,
Patreon.
guys.
Can't wait. Ready for some bad sex writing?
Yeah.
This is Incubus by Ray Russell, 1976. Now that the danger had passed, Belinda began to shake, all her great curves bobbing and quivering like overripe fruit. That's how I know my fruit has been out too long. It starts quivering.
Yeah. When your bowl of fruit is just sort of like wiggling around like someone's Jell-O mold that's constantly being shaken.
Yeah.
That's honestly, it's really tough this time of year to get a good watermelon. You just gotta listen for the quivering.
Exactly.
They also moan a little. They go, oh. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain.
And we've been your quivering watermelons.
Change the name.